through maybe cell phones and so on. Sharing them, there was that it was not a sophisticated production. It's only you're going to take the picture or the video of the protest and then sharing it on Twitter or Facebook or the rest, or even by email lists. By that, they started, those people who used the Twitter or Facebook, they started publishing or establishing authenticity for themselves. So you will know that this guy is in Iran and you should follow him, and he is bringing the original content, which is you can trust and you can share with the people. And then we saw people like news channels, TVs, radio, for example, CNN, taken or devoting or putting a team to watch the Twitter and Facebook and to follow what's going on and publish that on the TV. After we saw the publishing process, the people, when they saw their production on the TV, they started what we call or what we can label as a rewarding process. So that activist will take your production, your or the TV production, newspaper, your point of view, and then he'll record it, as we see in the first circle. Then he posts it with his friends for discussion, or maybe to have their comments about what's going on in that video and about that guy. They started also spreading the word from CNN and so on to the people, to the local people inside the country. And they started to reach to those people who in the TVs or in the Twitter, especially the known Twitter accounts, to be kind of sources, or kind to offer themselves as sources to the big organizations and the media. So we started two processes, which is the publishing process that we saw, and we have the rewarding process that will play out during the other 3 or 4 years that will come after the Iranian protest movement, which was against the election results in the election of President Ahmadinejad. Now, as we said, we have two main tools, which is the Twitter and Facebook, and each nation has special characteristics. For example, this is the Iraq. Iraq has 78% of the population on Facebook, which makes Iraq a Facebook nation, not a Twitter nation. Saudi Arabia is a Twitter nation, or somehow a Twitter nation, closer to Twitter nation than Iraq. So we have 78 of the internet users of Iraq on Facebook. This is according to an Arab Advisories Group report released in July 2013. And if we see Saudi Arabia, for example, we have 22% of the people, or the internet users on Facebook, 40% from Jordan on Facebook, and 74% of Kuwaitis, of internet user Kuwaitis on Facebook. And in Turkey, we have 39% of people, of internet users on Facebook. So even that Iraqis, we have a very small percentage, which is 2.5 million internet users in Iraq, but 78% of those people are on Facebook pages. So this is gives you how these numbers will grow. So if we have the internet user increasing in the future, we will see more people in Iraq on the Facebook than any other nation from the neighbors. This is I wish you can see it very clear. We see that today, in 2012, Iraq was before Afghanistan in the number of internet users in the Middle East. And this number is projected to grow in the coming years. We see Qatar, Bahrain, United Arab Emirates, Kuwait, and Israel in the first places, in the first 5 places, but Iraq still at the end. Iraqis are known for, they like reading, actually. So I think this number will grow in the years to come. This is a picture or a figure taken from the Arab Social Media Report in 2014. Since this figure was till 2012, this figure is 2014. We see that 1,400,000 Iraqis joining Facebook during January till May 2014. this is a very huge number. Actually, according to the communication committee in the parliament today, in March 2013, we have about 4 million Iraqis on as active internet users. So we see only in 5 months we have 1.4 million Iraqi people joining the Facebook, having Facebook accounts only in 5 months, which is the months of the crisis in Iraq, starting from Anbar and Rumadi and so on, moving forward. This is an indication that Iraqis have more than one account. Sometimes we saw with the jihadis, for example, jihadis in Iraq, they have maybe sometimes 2 accounts, one which is reflecting his normal life, and the other one which is devoted for putting something about religion, or sometimes quotes about from Prophet, or from, in the case of the Shia militia, for example, from Imam Ali or Imam Hussein, and so on. So the big number indicates that there is 2 lives for most of the Iraqis in the Facebook. We can read it, but also there is also an inclination to go to Facebook to know what's going on. This is also another figure taken from Arab or the which is Arab Social Media Report 2014. We see that Iraqis in 2004 has about 7 million accounts on Facebook. This is only Morocco. We have 7.2 million. Saudi Arabia 8.4 million. Egypt is number 1, which is 19.4 million people on Facebook page. This is also gives you an indication that how much people in Iraq are watching news from what's going on in their area from Facebook. Actually, what's interesting in Facebook also, the timing of Facebook, of the active availability for any of us on Facebook is from 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. That's also an indication that the first thing Iraqis, or the first way, or the first media they reach to know what's going on is the Facebook, not the TV or the newspaper or something else. And this is a very dangerous timing, because actually all the anti-government organizations are active during the night from 10 p.m. till 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning, while there is no any government response to these propaganda during this time from 10 p.m. to 4 a.m. So you can say that Baghdad airport has fallen, but there is no any reaction from the government, because the government is not there. So you can organize a campaign that you say that Mosul is done. Actually, I'm going to come to the example of Mosul, how Mosul was falling and there was no any government response to that. This is also another figure which is about the Twitter penetration in Iraq. We see Iraq is not, as I said, a Twitter nation. We have only 4.6% of Iraqis on Twitter. We have Saudi Arabia 15% on Twitter, and in Kuwait we have about 16% of the active users on internet. They are also having an account on Twitter, and in Jordan we have 3% on Twitter only. So Iraqis once again are taking their information from Facebook, not from Twitter. So this figure shows us who are the main players on Facebook or social media sphere, let's say. We have the government, which is in orange. We have ISIS. Actually, from my left, I don't know if it's on your left. We see the anti-government entities, the ISIS, Ba'ath, the Sunni anti-groups like the military councils. We have the anti-government media, actually like Rafidain TV and so on, those media who goes, or the media that goes after the news and want to verify. We can say it's an anti-government media. We have the Arabs who are used to, actually I was talking with Mr. Jabbar and said that Iraq is felt like a stranger within its Arab periphery. So the Arabs are playing with the anti-government more than playing with the pro-government people. On the other side, which is the right, we have players from the government, we have the Shia militias, we have pro-government media, and we have the three gray circles, which is the figures and the English media and non-government social media. These three grays can play with this part or can play with this side of the equation. So now we'll move to see each of these circles, how they play in this sphere, which is the social media. The government, we have, Iraq has no official news agency. So there is no way to know the official storyline or the official story of what's going on. We have maybe 5 main circles, which is Al-Iraqiyya TV, which is it's a semi-government. They defined it as a semi-government TV, and we have As-Sabah, which is also a semi-government newspaper. We have the third circle, which is Ministry of Defense. We have the Ministry of Interior, and we have the Cabinet, the website of the Cabinet, which is the last circle from the left. These are involved in the which is in the campaign that promote the government story in this crisis. We see Al-Iraqiyya, for example, the red circle is for the number of YouTube, 6,800 people on YouTube. We have on Facebook page, which is the middle circle, 135,000 people on Facebook. We have on Twitter 22,000 people today. As-Sabah has 0 on YouTube, 1,000 on Facebook, and 0 on Twitter. The Ministry of Defense, we have about 900 people on YouTube, 13,500 on their Facebook pages, and Al-Dakhiliya, or the Ministry of Interior, and the Cabinet has about 1.7 thousand both for the YouTube channels. They have 1.7 followers on YouTube channels. So in general, the Iraqi official message is so weak that it's not able to reach to the people and to convey what's going on if we compare it later on to the ISIS. If we go more deep, for example, if we take Al-Iraqiyya, for example, if we take the 22,000 people followers on Twitter, we will see if we take their timeline on Twitter during the crisis. For example, on 26th of June, I wrote some numbers. We have 89 tweets during 25th of June. We have 89 tweets on their timeline, 22 of them on the crisis. Only 22 of them on the crisis, and 8 of them breaking news about the crisis. If we go to on June 26, we will find 000 on the 3. So the government was, it seems that the employee on the to spread the official story was not there, or he was not working, and he left the space. So the Iraqis were unable, or especially those who are on Facebook or Twitter, to reach to the news, to the official story of to the official statement of the government during June 26. On June 27, we have 87 posts, 26 of them related to the crisis, and 7 of them were only breaking news. Like they say, okay, Tel Afar has not fallen at that time. So actually, most of these tweets were also off-peak hour, during off-peak hours. Actually, the Twitter is so active between after 3 p.m. People usually go to their work, and when they return, they use Twitter, not the Facebook. Facebook is something different. We said between 6 and 8. You have to know the right timing for posting on Facebook. On Twitter is something else. This is after 3 p.m. It's the active time where the people are ready to hear you and to spread your message. Actually, because Iraqiyya have employees, not people who are devoted or volunteers to do so, most of the tweets are coming in the morning, so at 8, 9, 10, 11, so nobody cares about what's going on, and nobody cared to retweet the message. This is, if we compare it to the anti-government entities, you will see that anti-government entities know when to tweet and when to Facebook and when to organize a campaign, and this is how it played during the fall of Mosul.